All right. Well, never mind about that. What's up, everybody? This is Justin, and I'm here with Michael House. We are going to, because no one is covering the Euros for us, and I think it's a nice niche we can. We both like soccer, so we're going to do a preview of today for today, and then we're going to, obviously, I think we're going to go probably once a week and just kind of recap everything. But today's all about the preview. We might sneak in some U.S. team news in there. But, Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for the Euros.
I know it
one of the
came
best
up out of
tournaments.
nowhere, and I was just telling somebody, I was like, because they keep calling it Euro 2020,
Super
which makes
weird.
absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
So
I guess they're just trying to keep it so then they can do Euro 2024, I guess, but it just sounds weird. We're in 2021. We're going back a year.
Yeah, right. And then I searched it, and I brought up the women's Euro, so I don't know. But so I'm trying to get these videos to work. Hold on. There we go. If any of you don't remember, the last Euro was in 2016, and shockingly, Portugal beat France without Ronaldo for the most part. So they scored in the extra time, and here it is. It's Eder.
That free kick. Here comes Eder. Not got much help. Oh, he doesn't need any help. How about that?
Yeah, I completely forgot about how that ended.
I remember seeing all the videos. Ronaldo coming on with the crutch or whatever he had, something on his knee, crying.
Yeah,
I remember during the game after he got hurt, he was basically the coach.
Yeah, and
he was out there pointing everyone around.
You could search it on YouTube. It's basically just search like Cristiano Ronaldo assistant manager, and he just is out there, and it's great. But yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo missed that one, and I sort of remember. I thought that goal. I mean, that was a legit goal. That was really good. It was a nice shot. It was a great placement. But I thought it was more like, I don't know if you remember, but when in the 2010 World Cup when U.S. played England. And Clint Dempsey scored on England because the keeper just let it through. I thought it was more like that, and it wasn't. It was just a good strike. So but Portugal should be definitely a tough out this year. They are in the group of death. But coming into this, I think most people would say the favorite is France, considering they won the 2018 World Cup. And here's just I'm going to pull up a video of just it's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes almost, but just kind of the goals in the World Cup final. And so they were. It was also a very good game too.
Ultimate game, the final of the 21st Football World Cup. Flicked in by Griezmann and flicked on, and France take the lead in the World Cup final. Indeed, Croatia's centre forward got the touch that mattered. Faded it in, Vasilko appeared round the back. Mandzukic can compete with Pogba. Came down for Vida. And then Perisic, 1-1! He has screamed that in! In by Griezmann, and the French are screaming handball.
Forgot about this too.
The referee is choosing to look himself. What a call to have to make.
Oof.
He's given a penalty for France in the World Cup final. Antoine Griezmann. France have their lead back.
What a downfall for Griezmann after this.
Generation.
Right?
What happened to him?
Mbappe. Griezmann. Pogba. For France, and possibly now the world. Here's Mbappe! Oh my word! The first teenage World Cup final goal since Pele himself. Oh, Lloris was caught on it by Mandzukic. Lloris with a moment of madness. Mandzukic perhaps a moment of redemption.
All right. So that was the end of the 2018 World Cup, which actually I think brings up some really interesting things that we're going to watch out. We're going to have to watch out for in the Euros this summer. But obviously that was France. I mean, it was basically after Griezmann scored, it was just the two big stars that scored, Mbappe and Pogba. But Croatia, I mean, they were good, but they were whatever. So I do want to kind of talk about this before we get into the groups. How do you think VAR is going to do in the Euros?
They do have it, right? Like
yeah,
it's in full effect. I mean, it's obviously going to come into play
100
at a big
times.
point, some point, and it's going to be a problem.
Like the only thing that I wish they kind of would like come out and say before the tournament starts is like the handball thing, because it seems like it's just up to every referee's discretion. And I think there has to be like a set rule for it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because it's always the handball rule and the offside rule. But the offside is pretty much black and white, even when it's like a centimeter.
Yeah.
Like it's still, you're either on or off, which is, I think it's stupid marking from the armpit. But
I think it takes away a lot of cool stuff. But
yeah, because they can't lean how they used to and get the advantage. But that's that. Handball, it's like 50-50. In the USA-Mexico game, I don't know how that was a handball. I know like it hit his hand, but he's standing with his arms like at a normal spot and it goes right into it. Like there's no way to move it out of the way.
Yeah, and the only reason I was okay with that was A, because they ended up winning, and still B was because I thought the penalty on Pulisic was a penalty, I thought, but I thought it was kind of weak. So as soon as he went to VAR, I was like, he's going to give a penalty, just like kind of give it back to him. So that's why I was kind of okay. But, and I mean, that was a big, the Nations League was big for North America, not really South America, but North America. But I mean, this is billions of people are going to be watching this. So I kind of just wish they would come out with like, I don't even know how you do it. Maybe just like if your hands are more than like 3 inches from your body or something. Right. I don't know. They'll never do it, but you can definitely guarantee there's going to be some issues with it.
Well, and I think all the people who play in the Premier League are just going to be used to it. And then like you're going to see like the people that play in Italy and Germany are just like, what is going on? Like why are we sitting here for 10 minutes deciding on a thing?
It's going to be interesting. And another point the USA-Mexico game brings up is you watch this and you know about soccer, right? I'm used to talking to people that don't really know anything about soccer. So, but the new FIFA protocols, I believe they're going to implement them in the Euros as well. I just don't know how it's going to help anything, because like you can't, I mean, I guess they could like force a team to lose because but that would be, you can't do that in such a big tournament. So I don't know. I mean, I still think there's going to be racial slurs. And I said this after the USA-Mexico game. I was like, I said, I love like the Mexican soccer team. I love the rivalry, but their fans are out of this league and just disgusting. And it's funny because I feel like America, like it's not that big a soccer, but like we're the only country I know that doesn't like just shoot out racial slurs or homophobic slurs all the time.
It's really odd. Like they do it even in like the leagues. I know the Italian league for some reason is like the worst. And they just like, I know Balotelli was like, just getting attacked all the time. And I like he was good. He was on an Italian team. Like, I don't know why, but it's for sure going to happen. And there's no way to regulate it. Like this thing of just stopping the game. Like,
if anything, stopping the game just messes up the flow of the game. So it's a restart.
It hurts the players more. And it's not like it's the players. It's not even the team. It's not Mexico's fault.
Yeah.
It's just like the fans are just stupid.
Yeah. And at this point, we might as well talk about the USA-Mexico game before we get into the Euros. When they scored that first goal off that McKenzie terrible pass, and McKenzie did report that he got racially abused online, which is obviously like, get over it, dude. Like, my God, in the end, I love sports just as much as the next guy, but probably more than the next guy. But like, you don't need to be hurling racial abuse especially online, because it's just those people that can hide behind like a website.
Yeah.
So.
It's just the trolls.
Yeah. But yeah, when they scored that first goal, I immediately was like, oh, it's over. This is over. This could not have started worse for the United States. And then they score another goal. And I didn't even realize it when I was looking at it. I don't know if you saw it, but I didn't even realize he was offside.
I actually saw it was offside, but like it's like impossible to see in live time. But then when they replayed it once, I was like, okay, I think it's coming back. I think his shoulder's farther. But that one I think actually was offside. Like he was like half his body was there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was
and
like,
it does like
once
I
that
feel
happened,
like
I was
it
like,
hurt.
oh geez.
Yeah, it hurts to me. Like it hurts strikers because like they like throughout their whole upbringing, like half of their soccer skill is like trying to manipulate the defensive line. So,
I think it was
and
Harry
then
Kane
obviously Zach. Go ahead.
I think it was Harry Kane who talked about it. Like he doesn't know how to because they would play off the back shoulder.
Yeah,
he doesn't know how to do it anymore. And then you see Timo Werner come from Germany, and I swear he's offside more than he's onside for Chelsea.
Yes,
he's just always offside. He just doesn't know what to do, I think.
I know there's different leagues and everything, but at some point you just have to either implement VAR everywhere or don't do it anywhere. Like there can't be this in between. But back to the USA. So Stefan gets hurt, and I saw Horvath hop up, and I was like I had a friend in high school that was like 6'4" and like super skinny, had like a man boobs and stuff. And I was like, that's my friend from high school. Like, there's no way this guy is going to do anything. And then the first ball he sees is rolling past him in the back of the net. So
yeah,
it was bad.
Like the 20-year-old wonder kid.
Yeah. That was a nice move inside. Like as soon as he had the ball on the inside, he knew he was going to go near post. And that was a good goal. And then Weston McKennie should have had like 3 goals. Like
I don't know how he's always getting to the corners.
I put it on Twitter and I was like, because he's not a very tall guy. I'm pretty sure he's like 5'10", if not shorter. And he got his head on every single ball, literally.
I think it's because he plays with Ronaldo. Ronaldo gave him some tips.
Yeah, apparently
for every single one.
I read an article that Ronaldo calls him the Texas boy. So I don't know. I love Ronaldo. I like him more than Messi. But it's just good for me to have. It's awesome for the USA to have Serginho Dest playing with Lionel Messi and then Weston McKennie playing with Ronaldo. So that was awesome. So then it goes into extra time, and first 15 minutes there was really nothing. Horvath made a nice save, and then he got ran into again. Which with the USA-Mexico rivalry, I'm completely fine. Like I loved all that stuff. Did you?
Just the game was like amazing. It was just like the fans throwing water bottles at Reina. Like, we don't need that. And then they hit their own guy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, that's what you get. But the game itself was like amazing.
Yeah, I recorded with Tom the next day, our regular podcast, and I was like, I just saw the best sporting event last night, like in literally 3 years, and it was awesome. Like I said, the rivalry, it seems like it's back, so that's cool. But yeah, Pulisic gets a penalty in the box. I thought it was a little bit weak, but they gave it to him. So, and he knew he was going to finish it. I didn't think he was just going to go top of the top shelf like that. But
unstoppable penalty.
Yeah, it was a great shot. And after all that time to think about it, obviously, I mean, they're professional players, so you don't think it gets them, but I'm sure it gets to them at some point.
Yeah.
And then him taking off his shirt, running into it. Like, I'm all for that. That was awesome. Yeah. Like you said, we don't need people throwing things at them. But it's going to happen in the rivalry.
Yeah.
So, but it was awesome. And then, like we talked about earlier, like they get the handball in the box, and that's going to be up for debate for the rest of time, probably, because they're never going to come out and say anything. And immediately I was just like, oh my God, this is going to go to penalties. Again, like we have no chance. Ochoa is a beast in the between the pipes.
Yeah.
This Horvath guy, no way. And then, I mean, let's be honest, it was a terribly taken penalty.
It was awful. It was basically down the middle.
Yeah, and I loved so Horvath saves it, and it's great. And the announcer, I watched the first half in the Spanish just because I thought it was funny, and the second half I watched the U.S. version, and he was like, he goes to the replays like. It was a good taken penalty. Wait, check that. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Like, actually, it was terrible.
Yeah, and so the U.S. goes up on winning, but after 16 more minutes of extra time for whatever reason, and then the ref blows the whistle. He wasn't even he hadn't thrown it in yet, so I thought it was weird. I thought the ref did what he could. It was always going to be hard to, referee that kind of match. I loved. I was kind of mad they gave the Martino the red card. I thought that was kind of funny, putting his arm around it, but I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll get your opinion, obviously, but I think it's a huge step for the United States. I mean, that has to boost their confidence so much. And I will say I was very disappointed with Serginho Dest. At no point in the game did he look like he had any flow. He looked like he was literally just kind of on an island by himself.
Well, because he plays right back usually for Barca, right?
Yeah,
left back but I mean, you expect him to be able to do that. But he definitely was the worst out of like their
the young
stars.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed in that. But this is huge for US. Like they should like really challenge to qualify for Qatar. If not, like easily qualify.
Yeah.
They should be a good team now.
I'm thinking going into it's next year, next summer's World Cup. I'm thinking they should, unless they get in a terrible group. I'm thinking right now, going forward. I mean, it's going to be the best American team that's been put out since like 1950. I think so. They should easily get out of the group. And then they also they played Costa Rica last night. Berhalter used basically his second lineup, and they killed Costa Rica. I guess Costa Rica didn't have really their full lineup either, but they killed Costa Rica 4-0, which is really important because that show they have depth at least. So it's not just like Reyna and Pulisic and Weston McKennie, those guys just playing every single game. So they look good. Going forward, like I said, I hope they really do qualify, obviously. And I'll say the only really opinion I have with I don't think when the US has like home games, so like in the Hex, they need to be played in places like New York, like Canada, like MetLife, Columbus. Just get it away from the border. Like you need to have a home atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it was like mostly Mexican fans. It
was, I would say it was probably 70-30. So that would be the only thing I would suggest going forward, because I think I know when they first went to Columbus, that was the first DASA 0 game, like back in early 90s, I think, and they finally went up there. And so Columbus has been awesome. I've been to one friendly there, but they need to do that. And
they have the new stadium too, so it's a good enough spectacle to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Columbus does a really nice job with it. But off of the USA to probably the better teams in the world. So before we get into the groups, I kind of put it on the outline. I said our favorites. I think France is going to win. I don't know how they don't win, considering they have probably the youngest, not the youngest, but like a young, talented team that is also, it would not surprise me if they went on a run winning the 18 World Cup, the 22 Euros, and then or 20 Euros, and then the 22 World Cup, kind of like Spain did back then too.
You wouldn't be surprised if they win, which is like, I want a surprise, obviously. I have Italy winning. I think, but for Italy to win, France has to mess up, because if France plays good, they'll win every game. But I do think injuries will play a big part, especially for like Griezmann, Pogba. I don't know if Conte can even get hurt. He's like a tank.
Yeah.
But Conte played like 2 weeks ago in the Champions League, and Pogba played in the Europa League. So they don't have much rest.
Yeah, that's another thing I said. Nice you bring it up. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of tired legs this summer. And if you look back at, like, with the pandemic and everything happening, most of these guys have really not had like an off season, a real off season in almost 2 years. So like there's going to be tired guys. At least it's not in Qatar right now, because people would die. Yeah. They would just die. And I still think they're going to die when they play it in there, which is a whole other topic for another time, but they need to get it out of Qatar as soon as possible. But we'll see. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, because I think there's going to be a lot of tired legs after such grueling league season. So yeah, I guess we'll just hop right into it with Group A. It's got your favorites: Italy, Switzerland, Turkey, and Wales. You like Italy, so I'll let you go first on your thoughts about the group.
I do like Italy. I think they have a lot of underrated players, like names you won't know. I think Marco Verratti is he's been training alone, so he's unknown if he's going to play, but he'd be a big loss. But I think they have a guy named Nico Barella who plays on Inter.
Yeah.
And he was like, when you talk about Inter, you're going to talk about Lukaku, but he was their best player this season. He's a center attacking mid. He was their best player, and he just makes them work. So Italy also has Ciro Immobile, who won Golden Boot last year.
Yeah.
They have a good defense.
Yeah, when I think of Italy, like I think of like Spain is boring. When I think of Italy, it's almost like they're Spain, but like a little bit more exciting when I think of them. In Italy, that's a good pick because I think I expect them to win all 3 games in the group, and they're going to be a deep, talented team. So I agree, Italy gets out of there. I don't think Turkey or Switzerland really have a chance. I liked Wales after their 2016 run. It's a little bit different now. Bale's 31, but you also have to put in now that they basically have a younger Bale on the right wing now with Daniel James from United, who didn't get a lot of time until the end of the season, really. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. I kind of expect Gareth Bale to play more in the middle and James out wide.
Yeah.
But I like Wales to get in, and then I know maybe perfectly, or at least about I like the top 2 teams qualify, and then depending on the rankings, like the 3rd team qualifies, right?
Yeah, it's like so there's 6 groups, and then they take all the 3rd place teams, and the 4 best qualify.
That makes sense.
They like bounce around. I don't know how that part works. Yeah, but for me in this, I actually have Turkey getting 2nd and Wales 3rd. Because really? I'm not going to try and pronounce any of the Turkey players' names because they're all. I don't want to embarrass myself, but they're not going to outscore you like crazy, but they're tough to beat. And I think I saw in their last 25 games they've only lost 3, and they just beat. I think they just beat the Netherlands like 4-0 in a World Cup qualifier. Because I know their 2 center backs is Demiral from Juve and Soyuncu from Leicester. That's a pretty good pairing. So I think Wales, Italy, and Turkey will go to the next round. Wales and Turkey, I think, is a toss-up between 2 and 3. But I think Switzerland, I don't think they'll win a game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and which is kind of disappointing considering they just beat the U.S. like 2 weeks ago. Whatever. Michael knows a lot more than me about soccer, which is very odd because every other podcast I'm on, nobody knows about soccer, and I like to pretend like I'm like the smartest guy in the room. I'm not this time, so I would definitely listen to what he says more than me. Because clearly I just like Wales because they're fast. And
no, I love Wales. Yeah. Wales is probably, Italy, my family's Italian, so I do like Italy a lot. Obviously USA, but Wales is like, Gareth Bale is like my favorite player ever. So like, I love watching Wales, and I would love to see them win.
Yeah.
But
and that's the point of view of a smart man. And I'm the point of view of a guy who's just like, I want goals. So let's go with Wales. But Gareth Bale, I totally agree. He, other than Ronaldo, really, when he was in Tottenham, when he was with Spurs, he was incredible. I loved him. He was so fast. And even when we got to Real Madrid early on, he was like, the one goal he had where he just kicked it forward and ran out of bounds past the guy for the last second goal. I can't remember. Yeah.
I think it was against some Spanish team, like Sociedad or something.
Yeah. So I like them, but if you're saying Turkey, I'll buy that too. I think Italy's 3 games they play. Like, if I was talking to someone who doesn't really like soccer, I would probably be like, yeah, you might want to watch one of the Italy games, but it's not going to be super exciting. Like, if you want to see a good game, check into Turkey and Wales.
Yeah, I think Turkey and Wales or Italy and Wales is going to be good. I think anything with Wales is exciting just because they are so fast. Like seeing Daniel James. And Gareth Bale, he's older, but I think for Wales, like, he has much more motivation.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's going to like go really hard. And I think that'll kind of decide his future where he ends up, if it's Real or Tottenham again.
Yeah. I know.
Turkey's not an exciting team, unfortunately. They're gonna like grit and grind. They'll beat you like 1-0 or 0-0, something like that, I think.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot of teams like that are just, famous soccer term, park the bus pretty much, and basically go on the counterattack when they can, like kind of cautiously. So there will be games that are boring. Don't get us wrong, but a lot of it will be exciting. And then I had just one more thing about Bale. I know he's 31, but I don't think they've qualified or I don't know if they will qualify for the World Cup next year. I'm thinking this might be the last time we see Gareth Bale in a Wales uniform.
I think, yeah. I mean, it's like a 50-50, I think.
Yeah, because if they make the World Cup, obviously, yes, he'll be there. And then 2020 Euros, you're 33. And granted, Wales doesn't have a lot of talent, but you never know. But Gareth Bale could play until he's 40, and I'd be fine with it. I like him, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hop over to Group B. So we got, I believe Belgium is ranked number 1 in the world, right?
They are.
Yes. So we have Belgium, Denmark, Finland, and Russia. I don't see Belgium losing any of these games, and I don't see them it being relatively close in most of them. But it is soccer, so you never know. So I think for sure Belgium's going to go through. I'm not as high on Belgium as the rest of the world seems to be.
I mean, I think it's France and Belgium's to lose. Like, I think just from a completely unbiased perspective, one of them should win. They're the two best teams. But this is, I think, I saw a video with Kevin De Bruyne talking about it, and he said, this is our last chance. Like, we're all old. We have to win this one.
Yeah.
So, if they're going to win, it's going to be this tournament, I think. Oh, we might have lost Justin. Well, I'll just keep going in it. We got Denmark, Finland, and Russia. So I would say Denmark.
Cut out.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry.
Welcome back.
Mine does that. If it happens again, I'll just get right back in it. My internet's terrible. When you think of Ohio and like Iowa and cornfields, that's where I live. So,
got it.
But yeah, we're talking about Belgium, and that's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't even really think about that. But yeah, they're young stars like Hazard. Or they're young, not young anymore. Hazard, De Bruyne. And I will say, I like De Bruyne a lot. He just, every single, the big game they seem to play, he doesn't show up to me. It's weird. Lukaku is Belgium, right? He's Belgium.
Yeah, he's Belgium.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season with Inter, incredible season with Inter. So he should be scoring goals. But yeah, I think it's really for Belgium. I think, in my opinion, it's going to be how well can De Bruyne and Hazard, how much of their skill do they have left, really?
Yeah. I like Belgium a lot. They also have Tielemans from Leicester, who had a really good season. He had that huge goal against Chelsea in the FA Cup. Mm-hmm. And they have Thorgan Hazard also, who does he play for? He plays for Dortmund.
I was going to say, I thought
he's definitely the second brother, but he's also really good. And they have a good defense, a really veteran defense with Alderweireld and Vertonghen. And so I like Belgium. I think this is a free group for them. I don't think there's much debate. I think Denmark will get second too. They're just a better team than Finland is going to struggle to win a game, I think. Denmark has
keep going.
They have Christian Eriksen, who hasn't been great for Inter this year. He doesn't get him a lot of playing time, but he's always good for Denmark.
Yeah, he's at Inter? When did he go to Inter?
He went the January window of 2020.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because I remember when he was with Spurs and everyone thought he was. I mean, he was at the time one of the best central midfielders in the world.
Yeah,
I mean, everything was him on going to Barcelona. I remember, but whatever. Eriksen always seems to. Eriksen, he's good, and even if he gets older, I think he'll still be good. He just controls the midfield for them, and as long as he's not injured or severely memory loss or something, I don't know, but he should be able to especially with the rest of the group, rest of the teams that are in their group. I mean, they're gonna have trouble with Belgium, obviously, but I mean, over Russia and Finland, he should be able to completely control the pace of that game, dish the ball out wherever he wants. So I totally agree. I like Denmark to finish second. But like I said, you're completely right. I mean, it is kind of Belgium's last chance. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, hopefully it's just good soccer. Russia did make that run in the World Cup, didn't they?
Yeah, that's when everyone was accusing them of cheating.
Yes. I do remember that now.
I think they'll get third.
Yeah, I also remember when before the World Cup in Russia obviously started, Sports Illustrated was trying to write things about soccer because the U.S. team clearly was not in. So they were talking about everyone talks about like English Premier League fans or Barclays Premier League fans, and they were talking about how like in Russia they like these groups of fan bases literally go to like a woods and just have an all-out like battle against each other with like guns and knives and everything.
They're wild.
So I mean that's Russia in a sense to me, really. So
and just like that Denmark, they always do a thing because I'm a Spurs fan, so Højbjerg's on Spurs, and I always
kind of look like Christian Eriksen.
Thank you. I think he's a handsome guy, but on Højbjerg's Instagram, they always do. I forget what they call it. It's something like the polar plunge, where they like jump in the freezing waters of one of the Danish seas or whatever it is, and they're all just in there like flexing and just they're like we're the Vikings. They're not going to be. I don't think Russia's going to be like a throwaway win, but they just don't have the firepower.
Yeah, no, I agree. Russia made their run. They might make another run in like 10 years. But yeah, I think honestly I think with Russia they probably put too much gas in that World Cup run that I don't know how much they have left. So, but yeah, we both agree. Belgium if they lose a game in this region or not the region,
it's a surprise.
Yeah, in this group, I was thinking college basketball for whatever reason, but yeah, and it would be a shock if they didn't. So let's hop down to another pretty one heavy team group is Group C. We got Austria, the Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Ukraine. And you said you know about smaller teams.
I don't know about North Macedonia.
There's three of those teams in there that are small to me, other than the Netherlands. So
I don't know much about North Macedonia. I know Austria has a couple good players. They have his name is Marcel Sabitzer. He's on Leipzig. He's good in the midfield, but I think that's pretty much it for Austria. I know Ukraine is they're supposed to be one of the dark horses of this, not to win, but I think they're going to challenge Netherlands for top spot. The only guy you might know is Zinchenko from Manchester City.
Yeah.
The little blonde guy. And he's kind of like their guy, which is weird because he's not the guy on Man City. Like he's their pen taker.
Yeah.
But they're a pretty good, well-rounded team. They're kind of like Turkey. And Netherlands have a lot of injuries. Van Dijk is out. I think someone else is out too. And they're just a much different team. They're a super young team. They have Van der Beek and De Ligt, who are kind of like the leaders now. They did get really far in the last Euros, or in the Nations League. They were the runner-up, I think, with Portugal. Mm-hmm. But I would take Netherlands first and then Ukraine second. I can't imagine North Macedonia has a very good team. It's such a small country. You never hear about Macedonian players, really.
Yeah, no. There's like a city a town 30 minutes away from me called Macedonia, where I live, and it's just all I think about when I think of Macedonia. Two things for you: Verratti will not play, and I'm looking at Ukraine's last 3 games. I mean, they haven't lost. They tied Bahrain, then they beat Northern Ireland, and they killed Cyprus, which really isn't that much to look at.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. I mean, the weird thing to me is like the first I'm not trying to get off topic, I promise. When I first really started watching soccer was the 2010 World Cup when I really got into it, and obviously that was when the Netherlands played Spain, and they had guys like Sneijder, Van Persie, and those guys, and so it's different now. I don't really know a lot of their younger players. I know Donny van de Beek plays for United. I mean,
I think he's hurt.
I would say he's either hurt or he needs to get in shape fast because he didn't see the field much for United, which somewhat surprised me. But
it was a terrible signing, I think.
Yeah, I agree. But It would be pretty. I would be pretty shocked if Netherlands didn't come out and win, and then I think I'll follow along with you and say Ukraine gets second. I don't think it matters who gets third in this because they're not going to make it. I don't think so.
I agree. I think Austria and North Macedonia are just a little too. They're like out of their depths with. I mean, Ukraine's not a huge team, but I think Ukraine and Netherlands. That game will probably go to Netherlands, I'd say, but I think they both win the rest of the games too.
Yeah.
So I think the third place team will not advance from this, I don't think.
Yeah. That game's on Sunday. It's coming up on Sunday. Ukraine, Netherlands on Sunday.
I'm going to have to watch that.
Yeah. So
got to see how my hot take of Ukraine goes. Ukraine and Turkey, those are my two dark horses.
And they are dark horses, but it's also so different from like American sports. Because like these guys grew up loving soccer, no matter what country. It was basically the only sport. So that's why soccer is a lot more competitive than you see in some of the American sports. I think because these guys are just learn with like the mindset they're going to play soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. So to Group D, I got to say I think England got a really good draw in my opinion. I mean, I know the hosting squad, which also I had no idea until yesterday, which shows how dumb I am. Like I know England was hosting, so the final will be there and everything, but it's actually spread out across all of Europe, which I didn't know.
I think how they do it is how they pick the groups has something to do with it's like how you qualify. If you're the first team to qualify, you become a host country. So I think it's like England, Italy, Spain. I think Scotland has some. They like share the games, so England will get all. They'll play at home, and then Italy will play all at home. But then the final is at Wembley, which is, I mean, that's a historic stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, I would like to see England there, just because that would be fun.
Yeah, I think we really need to talk about England. I think they come out of this group. I think this will probably be the best team that they're going to be able to put out, or it should be the best team they're going to be able to put out. Like, I don't know if how old is Harry Kane?
28.
So he's still pretty young, but then you got to think the next World Cup he's going to be 30. So with him up front, and then you guys like Sancho and Rashford and Sterling in the wings, and with the speed, this should be their best team. The defense is always like questionable for them. It seems like.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And I don't see any difference in that this year. I mean, they're going to be, from what I've seen, they're going to be lucky if Harry Maguire gets back in time. Which, I mean, he was half the reason United, not half the reason, but he was part of the reason United lost the Europa League. So it'll be interesting with that. But I mean, just to remind everybody, I mean, England bowed out of the last Euros, like in the first round, right
after the groups,
rounds. Yeah. So, I mean, they got crushed. Who?
To Iceland.
Yeah. And they got, I mean, like people say media here get on the superstars here. Like I remember seeing some of those headlines, and I was like, if I'm an England player, I'm not showing my face for 6 months.
They make a mistake, and you get death threats.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
I think England. There is definitely a lot of pressure. I think this is their best chance. Like this is their golden age team. I think they'll still have a good team for the World Cup. I think because Kane has said he would rather win a national trophy than a club trophy. Which is like, it's fair. I mean, you can just decide. I think they're really lucky John Stones came back to being good.
Yes.
I think he's going to be huge. I think it was a mistake with what their manager Southgate chose after Trent got hurt. He chose Ben White. I mean, I guess it's because Maguire was hurt. He's the guy I think he's from Brighton. I don't know how you don't take James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. He's like the best free kick taker.
Yes.
That's what I was done.
So he didn't make the squad because his name was coming up like almost maybe a week ago or something when they were playing like friendlies or something and he scored.
Yeah, because they I don't know why England was like the last team to release because they have a 22-man squad or 26, I think. But before that, they released a 33-man provisional squad. So that had James Ward-Prowse, Jesse Lingard, all these people who ended up not making it. And then in the friendlies, up until the Euros, you can play anybody, like anyone from your provisional squad. So they were playing a lot of Lingard, a lot of Ward-Prowse. And I don't know how Ward-Prowse didn't make it. Because he's got to be the best free kick taker with De Bruyne.
I mean, I've seen some of his goals from this past year even are just they're incredible.
They're wild.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I feel like this might be a hot take, but like Southgate has been their manager for a while, right?
Yeah, a good while.
Yeah, like if they don't do well or if they don't win this, I think he's gone. Because under him they've just flamed out of every single tournament. So, did you know if Lingard made the squad?
It did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was gonna say if they put Lingard in over Ward-Prowse, I'd be like,
yeah.
I love Lingard. Like he's awesome. Like actually off the field, like all the stuff he does, I think he's hilarious. And he by getting loaned to West Ham this year, yeah, that was great for him. Because I don't know if he has a spot in United coming back, so hopefully he can find somewhere else to play. I love him, but
I hope he just stays in West Ham.
Yeah,
he's kind of found like a group of young guys that are kind of like him, and they always have the best celebrations.
Yeah,
they have like the band. He's fun to see, but as like if you're really trying to win, you can't take him because there's just better people.
Yeah. So yeah, we've talked about England. I mean, they need to win. I would say they need to win all 3 games, and then I think the pressure's a little bit off, a little bit. But then once obviously if they get into the 8 or 4 semifinals, then it gets big. But with the other teams, I've said it. I like Scotland because I love their fans. I don't know much about the Czech Republic.
They're gonna get last, I think.
Okay, and then
Croatia was good in the world they were good in the World Cup. They got second, but they have to be one of the oldest teams.
Yeah, Modric.
They're all old.
Yeah, Modric is now 35, which I'm sure he's still probably one of the top 15 like control kind of guys, midfielders maybe in the world. I don't know. So he should be like they're old, yes, but like. It's a pretty easy group to me, so I feel like it wouldn't surprise me if they got second. I would pick them to get second probably.
If you're picking a game to watch out of if you're only going to watch one game, I think England-Scotland might be the best, just because the rivalry there is so good, and that they're in the same group. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up when that is.
One interesting thing I also saw about England is if they get first in the group, their next match will be against the person who gets second from the group of death.
Oh.
So I think if you could choose, you would try and get second for England, because then I think you play someone from group E. But I mean, if they get first, they're looking at either France or Portugal or Germany in the next round.
Yeah,
so it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah. But the bad thing about that, because I totally agree, you should play for second.
Yeah.
But then if they're playing for second, they're just going to rip them apart.
Yeah, well, they can't play for second. They would just they would be attacked.
I totally agree. So like I said, I think it's a big tournament for England. I think they need to. They need to win. I think.
I think so
at least
too.
Keep their people happy for a while, and then we'll head to Group E, which I was very disappointed. I know Zlatan said he was retired from international football, and he's just not fit right now, so he's not going to play. Yeah. I guarantee if he was, he would have played, and I guarantee Sweden would have welcomed him with open arms.
He's an icon. Everything he does is just.
I love Zlatan. So we have Sweden, Spain, Slovakia, and Poland. Obviously, we have Spain, but I for people who don't see or watch a lot of soccer, it's not the Spain you're used to seeing. There's no more Andres Iniesta. I mean, that guy's been way gone. There's no more Xavi. It's a whole new group, really. And then I know you said they have injuries.
Ramos is out. The 17-year-old wonder kid for Barcelona, Fati's out. I think they'll still win the group. This isn't a very strong group.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know how they don't. I would say Sweden would be a dark horse if Zlatan, because obviously in soccer, and it's kind of like American football, it's the same, like one player can't really carry you, but Zlatan kind of did carry Sweden for about 20 years. So I thought he could have. And then, I mean, I will pick second. I think Poland.
I would agree.
Just because, kind of like what I was saying with Zlatan, I mean, Lewandowski's playing it. And, I mean, granted, I wish he would move to like a better league, really, because I think playing for Bayern, he just scores a ton of goals. I would like to see how good he is against, and we'll get to see that hopefully, how good he is against the other guys. But he's in such good form. He'll probably, if he does, he'll win the Golden Boot in like if they gave one out for like the group play, I think. So
yeah, I think he would definitely win it if Poland went farther. But I see them getting out too, just on the back of Lewandowski.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know much about Slovakia, and then like I said, Sweden without Zlatan, not much.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Slovakia actually, but I think they must get last.
But I do think it is kind of exciting, especially for I would say us, because we've been watching soccer and we actually like soccer. It is going to be kind of cool to see a new Spanish team. Like I'm so used to the old guys. Like I want to see what they got coming up. So
yeah,
I think that's
young guys.
Exciting. And then
the big group.
I mean, if you're hungry, you just got to be looking to the sky. Like, God, what did I do to deserve this? Like.
Yeah, they definitely drew the short end.
So
I mean, the only guy I know in Hungary is his name's Shabasla or something like that. I think he now plays for Leipzig. He's really good. Unfortunately, he's not really going to be able to showcase it against like three favorites. So
so the Group F is, I mean, every time they do a tournament, literally in everything, especially in soccer, they label a group of death. This is Hungary's literally group of death. It's we got the past World Cup champs, France, Germany, who has been
won the World Cup before that.
What?
They won the World Cup before France.
Yeah.
And we have the last Euro winners.
Whatever happened to just get me off topic for a second. Whatever happened to Gatza? Where's he at?
He played on Dortmund for a while. He was one of those one-hit wonders.
Yeah, he scored
won the World Cup and then kind of disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking him up. He plays for PSV Eindhoven. So talk about a fall, not a huge fall from grace, but I mean, after he scored that goal, I think like everyone in the world was looking at him. So
I think he was like one of the most sought after prospects, and then I think Dortmund did buy him for a lot.
Yeah, so obviously France, Germany, Hungary is what we kind of said, and Portugal, who I actually think will be better at this Euros than they were. They'll on paper, I think they'll have a better squad than they did when they won in 2016. But yes, this is a group of death. I think it's pretty easy to pick. I think France wins the group, in my opinion. I think they do. And I think, but every game between France and Germany and Portugal, Portugal and France, any of those ones are, if you haven't watched those, if you want to see the best players in the world, you need to look there for sure. Like I said, I can't guarantee it's going to be exciting but I would say it's going to be impossible for the Germany-France game to not be exciting. So definitely tune in for that one. But go ahead.
I think they're all going to be exciting. I think Portugal's like really, really good. I mean, they have Ronaldo. Bruno Fernandes was amazing for United. Joao Felix on Atletico. They just won the league. In Spain, they have the Premier League Player of the Year, Ruben Diaz. They have a good keeper. They're a good team. I think I don't think France goes winless in this group. I mean, I don't think they go undefeated, but I think they do win. I think they'll lose at least Germany or Portugal.
So how about this? In the 2016 Euro, when Portugal won, Hungary was also in their group, and they tied Hungary 3-3.
3-3. Portugal often have those high games where they tie. They also had the one in the World Cup when Ronaldo got the hat trick against Spain. So maybe that happens again. Maybe Hungary makes it out.
If Hungary made it out, but whoever the other team is that doesn't make it, I mean, they might as well just quit soccer. Like, say, we're not going to the next World Cup. We're doing
that would be the biggest upset.
Yeah,
one of the biggest upsets in sports.
But yeah,
that would be crazy.
This is the group of death is definitely the group games that you're going to want to watch. I'm trying to look when they are. I'll have it out by the time we're done. But yeah, like I said, it would be awesome if Hungary gets through. I agree with you about Portugal. I think they're really good. I think Bruno Fernandes is obviously it's Ronaldo's team. But then you look back in 2016 and Eder got him the win. I think it's going to be kind of like that, where like Ronaldo will probably score the goals, but Bruno is going to be doing the dishing and passing in the midfield, which he's good at. So
it'll be interesting to see if they get a penalty. If Ronaldo will give it to Bruno, who's been like a beast at penalties.
Insane. Well,
I think there's no way he gives it though.
So get off topic real quick. I think they need to change penalties. Like I think there needs to be something else because they become too easy.
They do.
Like, I mean, I know in the Europa League final when United played, I can't remember who they played.
Villarreal.
Yeah. They lost basically it came down to the goalie versus the goalie kicking on each other. And it's like, and that's a cool thing about soccer that I like. Like, it's awesome at that, but it's also like that great of a game. Like, it shouldn't come down to the guy who never shoots shooting at the guy who never shoots as well. So, but soccer is what it is. I'll put up a petition for they should play it like cricket, just go for days on end until someone dies. But I don't think that would go over very well.
They should do it how they used to. Like, I think like years and years ago, they did it like how hockey is, and the player would get a run up and the goalie could like go after him.
That would be sweet. That would be so much
interesting. You'd see a lot of skill. Like, I feel like if Neymar's in there, he'd like do some rainbow flick and try and embarrass the keeper.
Yes, and then also on the other side of that, you just see flopping all the time in the penalty box. Yeah. They'll be shooting their penalty and they'll try and flop on their penalty.
Yeah.
All right, so those are all of the groups. I know you said you don't do a lot of gambling, so that's fine. I will say I won't bet much on it. I probably will for whatever reason. Just for a future, if you're looking at a future, I would say the Netherlands plus 1,400 right now would probably be your best bet going forward, just because they are a good squad. They're young. And they're over plus 1,000, which every other real contender is way below them. So that would be your best value bet. But otherwise, I think either England plus 500 or Germany plus 700 isn't a bad bet as well. Because France is 450, which is, I've seen some soccer term. That's a pretty high number for a favorite. And then Wales is plus 20,000 20,000, something like that. And I will be betting on Wales just because it would be cool.
Well, you got to just put like a couple bucks on it.
Yeah. So we might as well. So the weekend picks, we'll just give them out this time. And like I said, we should be, I don't know what day we'll do it, but at least sometime next week, we'll probably get together and do kind of a recap of what games are happening and kind of preview what's games going forward.
Sure.
Just because, like I said, we like soccer and it's an exciting time to be a soccer fan. It's one of the best tournaments in the world. So, but obviously over the weekend, it starts tomorrow. Italy versus Turkey is the opening game, I believe. I have Italy getting over. I would take, if you're betting, I would take the over in the entire game of 2.5 because I think Italy's going to come off strong and pretty much beat them. Do you like Italy versus Turkey?
I do. I like Italy over anyone right now.
I think what? I'm gonna pull up something real quick. I'll tell you what Italy's odds are. They have to be around exactly like Germany, somewhere around there. So
yeah,
let me look that up.
I would also see what Belgium is because they're a dangerous team, and if they're like above 600 or something, I wouldn't. That's not a bad bet.
Give me 1 second. I gotta pull it up. What's here? Let me pull up the next one. Switzerland versus Wales is the next one. Obviously, not obviously, but you know what I mean.
Must be
I
Wales
like
winning.
Wales. I would take the Wales money line, which is basically just betting on them to win. And the good thing about betting on soccer in these tournaments is that's not true, actually. Well, it's true once you get to the knockout rounds, but the ties do happen, so that kind of does suck. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I like Wales to win. I would put my money on the Wales money line. And then Finland versus Denmark. You got anything on that one?
I would say Denmark wins. I see you have the under 2.5.
Yeah, it seems like a game that they're just going to kind of both teams are just going to kind of sit back.
I just don't know anything about Finland. I don't know if they can I think if they get a goal, I think Denmark will get at least like 2 or 3. So if they but otherwise I think Denmark gets maybe 2.
All right. And then here our last one, then I have the odds up. Russia versus Belgium. I put, if you're going to bet on it, do the Russian money line. It's plus 362. I think Belgium's going to win pretty easily. So I would just tell you straight, don't bet on this game because it's not going to win you any money.
Yeah.
Unless the total is something weird at the end when it comes down to that day. But Belgium's going to win 95%, and there's no point in putting, even $10 on it because you just get back like $3. Yeah. So here I have the odds up. So like I said, France is plus 450, England's plus 500, Belgium's plus 550, which that's actually not a terrible value bet because they are the number one in the world. You would think the number one in the world would be plus 450. So if you really do think Belgium's good, that would be definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And what was the other one you wanted to hear?
Italy.
Italy's plus 800. That's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to bet on that.
Yeah, that's Portugal, Spain, and Italy are all plus 800. Then it goes all the way up to plus 1400 in Netherlands. So
I think Portugal or Italy is a good bet.
Yeah, exactly.
For 800, I think both of them should be at least around England. I think they're both as good as England. Yeah. But England they do have an advantage that if they do get to the final, it is at Wembley. So they will have that. I mean, fans travel like crazy for these games, but I mean, it's still, there's going to be a majority of English fans.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have your section of whatever other team there is, and honestly, it's good for England. I think it's good for England soccer to be hosting it. Now they just have to pray they actually get there, because I will say, if they get there and don't win, I don't think they're going to get crushed that bad.
Unless it depends on how they lose, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what if they get killed like 4-0 to Italy or Portugal or Spain or something like that, then they're going to kill them. But I would say, as important as I thought the U.S.'s win over Mexico was, this tournament for England is like 75,000 times more important. So for them, so
keep an eye out in the England-Scotland game. If Scotland win, I would tell everyone to check out some English media and just see how badly they get roasted.
I'm already when that happens. Well, I don't think it's happening this weekend. If it is, I'll let everybody know. But I mean, if Scotland beats England, I'm just gonna give out $100 to someone who throws me the best headline on Twitter, like because I know when Iceland beat them, they had like Ice's England or whatever. So but yeah, it's going to be a great tournament. I don't see how it's not going to be. It's going to be, and even if you don't think a lot of players about soccer, it's okay, because I think because of the tired legs, you're going to see a lot of guys that like you don't normally see playing for their national teams, really, because their teams are going to need a lot of depth. And take for example, like when France is playing Uruguay, it would not surprise me. Not Uruguay, Hungary. It would not surprise me if France doesn't put out their best squad to give their guys a little bit break. So it's going to be a great tournament. Michael, you picked Italy right now. There's no going back.
I'm in. I'm all in.
So I'm gonna be more fun. I won't pick France. I'll go with England.
I like that.
I'll go with England just because I think it would be good for the world in soccer.
I would love to see England win.
Exactly.
They have those. They have all the "it's coming home" chants. It would be fun.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we should next week at some point. We'll post something and we'll let you guys know. But we'll be putting this up, and we'll put this one up, and then obviously next week we'll do some recaps over the first weekend, and kind of get into what's happening next week. So, I think that's all I got for today, Mike. You got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, we're going to end the live show, and hopefully join us sometime next week, guys.
Sweet.